that kind of housing has been destroyed in a lot of cities.
Well, Mr. Lester, in view of the fact that everywhere you look, you see some kind of skyscraper going up in Nashville, which is to say that we have the ingenuity to build as many of these things as we possibly can and as fast as we possibly can. Cannot there be some kind of agreement that we can develop at least one or two of these large structures, homeless kind of structures that will allow for some of the individuals who are made absolutely homeless to have a place to lay their heads at night?
Well, you point to the building of these buildings. A large part of this is tax finance. They give tax breaks to large developers, over $300 million during the period of Carl Dean, to build these places that, the theory, I suppose, is that the prosperity will trickle down. Unfortunately, it really has not trickled down. Poverty has increased dramatically in Nashville. It's, as I said, 1 in 5 now, including 35,000 children. And yes, there should be money available to build affordable housing. Now, we're not so interested in seeing it concentrate. I work with NOAA's Affordable Housing Task Force as well as a voice. And we don't really want to see it concentrated in large projects, but units spread throughout the city so as that to break up the concentrated poverty. But also money can be provided to rehabilitate housing that is falling apart or that people are in danger of losing. The problem is the mayor has conceived of it as a relatively small problem. She's pledged $10 million this year and potentially more without a permanent source of funding. That's the amount we gave to the zoo in the past couple of years. The zoo has a capital campaign of $160 million, largely for an African savanna exhibit. We feel like the city should have a larger capital campaign for people who are either homeless or who are in danger of falling into homelessness. And so it's unimaginable, to me at least, that the city can't find a dedicated source of funding for the Barnes Affordable Housing Trust Fund to actually preserve and create new affordable housing. We believe 20,000 units are what's needed now. There are 14,000 people waiting for vouchers. And these are families, people with children, people that are citizens, taxpayers who've lived here for a long time that desperately need some assistance.
Mr. Rodriguez, in view of the fact that you have some knowledge in terms of what's going on nationally in reference to the homeless population, what city do you believe, or what state do you believe is doing the best in terms of trying to deal with the problems that we're talking about here today? I mean, what state or city do you know that we can say that this is perhaps the best that they can do in reference to the homeless population dealing with this issue?
Yeah, well, I would say New York City has had the most experience. There are probably other cities that maybe have been a little more experimental and maybe have more successful policies. I know Hennepin County, Minnesota, for example, has been talked about a lot. But New York City has been at this for a long time. So that's typically where researchers and policymakers tend to go if they want ideas for policy.
Well, now, Mr. Lester, do you think that the kind of money that we spend on other issues outside of the homeless population, do you think that some of that money might be directed toward dealing with smaller units, not necessarily congregating everybody in one building, but dealing with smaller units over a widespread area?
Yes, I think that would be definitely the preferred solution. The mayor's targeted some really good things towards providing more money for schools and the like, but I don't think she recognizes the severity of the problem and of the need for affordable and workforce housing. Over half the population of Nashville, the workers of Nashville, make less than $29,000 a year. And over half the renters are cost burdened. They can't really afford the housing that they're living in, which puts them in danger all the time of becoming, ending up on the street. That's exactly right.
And so in a real sense, we've got a real issue here, but it's an issue that perhaps it can be solved by money. Money might not solve everything, but do you think that we can solve some of these issues by more money?
I think so. That's one thing that it's going to take is money to change the policy. And then we forget about the large population that is incarcerated that have mental illness. And they don't need to be locked up, but one day they're going to be free and they're not going to have a home. And the question that you asked Mr. Rodriguez earlier, if you look at Sacramento and Pasadena and Buffalo, they're doing a great job as far as eradicating homelessness right now.
And so you would suggest those might be some issues, some areas that we might look in terms of policymakers and etc. And we're running out of time here, but let me thank the three of you for bringing that excellent information, because I think it gives us all, at least it gives me a better understanding of what's going on, because wherever I go, over in North Nashville, East Nashville, and et cetera, I see all of these New England style homes that are there, and I know that I understand all of these things are happening. And so let me thank you, and let me encourage our audience to tune in again next week for another informative edition of Comments. Thank you, and